On Tuesday, February 6, 2018, before the Nashville City Council meeting, I sat down to have lunch and a conversation with Pastor Enoch Fuzz, pastor of the Corinthian Missionary Baptist Church, who had decided to lead a charge in the black community under the banner, "No Hospital, No Transit." As Pastor Fuzz explained in the interview arranged by bipartisan political operative Rick Williams, his grievance with Mayor Barry goes much deeper than a simple quest to keep General Hospital open.
What is so important about that hospital? That hospital is extremely important to you. Please explain that.
You know what? I can go along with you shutting down the hospital or shutting down or building anything. But I'm a protocol person. There's a way you do things. There's a right way and there is a wrong way. No one has the information at large, whether or not the hospital is a good idea or not a good idea. But you investigate that and research that the right way. You don't go behind closed doors in a secret room, in a secret meeting, and make a decision. Public affairs should be handled in public.
Would you say that again?
Public affairs should be handled in public. I got my favorite story, my favorite sermon in the Bible that I use is the prophet Elijah, where he tells the wicked king Ahab, "Meet me on Mount Carmel in front of all the people, all of your wife's false prophets, meet in public on the mountaintop, not behind closed doors, not in some smoke-filled secret room. Let's meet before the public, and let's see who the real God is." And that's what I say to elected officials. I want public information to be public. And so the hospital has been here 125 years. It's never been a problem until it was moved to North Nashville. There's never been a funding question about this hospital until it was put in North Nashville. And then
when did that happen?
2004.
So only 13 years ago.
Yes. Now, 125 years you've been operating. Number two, when you talk about closing down a hospital in a community, you're taking away the top paying jobs in that community.
Is it about the jobs or is it more about access to health care or both?
It's about, again, that you do things in secret. We have an administration that since they
whatever you're going to do, you should discuss it with us, do it openly. Don't do it and announce it to us, especially when you've told us you weren't going to do that, right?
Yeah, especially when you told me you're not going to do that.
It seems like your main issue with Mayor Barry is not that she might not support you on all of the things that you want, but she tells you she does, and then she doesn't do it.
She has not done it.
To me, personally, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to meet you, and one of the reasons I'm so proud of what you're doing, is because that, to me, is it is the most important thing in politics. You and I are going to disagree on several of these issues, and I hope one day you get a chance to talk to the mayoral candidate who will tell you, "Reverend Fuzz, I don't agree with you on that, and I probably never will. And here are the reasons why, and let's discuss it thoroughly. And if you don't want to vote for me, that's fine. But let's keep this conversation going if we possibly can." And she would have said that on the hospital. I don't know if it's possible to save this hospital or not. I know what you need. You need the employment, you need the health care, and I'm going to do my best. But I don't know if it's going to come through this hospital or through another way, but I'm going to tell you you're going to be part of the conversation all the way, and we're going to find the best way to do it. Had she done that, this probably wouldn't be happening today.
I'm very reasonable. I like to sit down and analyze and look at the facts. But when you tell me, I promise you, I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. And once you get in office,
Right.
not only do you not even try to fulfill those promises, you deny those promises. And that's what's come to the table right now,
So,
that I'm not even willing to meet with you because I don't trust you.
so my next question is, have you come to the conclusion that you can't support her transit plan because you just cannot trust her anymore?
That's-
Or have you also along the way looked at the transit plan and found some real problems with it?
Those are both correct. Number one, you have an administration that has proven that we can't trust you. Number two, as I began to look into the transit plan and ask questions about it, when I would ask the mayor's office, you were generally responded to in a bullying kind of way. I saw them accuse people who were against transit of being communist. You are outsiders influenced by people who don't care about the city. I'm not an outsider. People in those rooms where I've met with, I've hosted at least 2 discussions on transit to help people get the information. When folk would ask questions, they could not get an answer, and when someone would object, I saw one guy who attended a meeting on transit. He was from No Tax for Tracks. He stood up to just bring out information, some facts.
Right.
The people from the mayor's office accuse him of being an outsider, someone who just wants to get their way. He's with groups who don't have the best interests of Nashville. All you needed to do was answer his question.
One of the grievances Pastor Fuzz has with Mayor Berry involves policing the black community. Now, I anticipated a significant difference of opinion with the pastor regarding the relationship between the black community and the police.
Anytime I open the newspaper, anytime I read the websites, I see a dozen headlines. So-and-so shot, so-and-so killed, so-and-so shot, so-and-so killed.
Yes.
Almost all of these are black-on-black crimes in Nashville, Tennessee. And then once, maybe every 6 months or so, a police officer will shoot a young black man. And that is so much more important than all the rest of those.
I won't
Would
take
you
credit
please
for
try to explain
Yeah.
to me why one
but-
gets so much more attention publicly from your community than the other?
Right. I won't take credit from it. It's the prophet Agar. It's probably in the lost books of the Bible. He says this: poverty is the enemy of the law. So keep me from hunger, O Lord, so that I will not steal. When you see these crimes, they're not in the black community. They're in very, very poor communities. They're in public housing, where the most of them happen. And I can't get people to listen, but we're talking about 0.001% of these people in that community. But it leads the news, and it causes people all over this city to fear other folk. One way to take over a country or a people is to dehumanize those folk, to demean them, to make it look like these folk don't care. 99.99% of these people work, have the same lives, thoughts, problems, go to church like everybody else. But every night the news lead off with some black kid shooting, Great example, Tennessee State University, one of the greatest schools in this nation. Underfunded. They just had their homecoming parade. 40,000 people went to their homecoming parade here in Nashville. It's one of the larger parades. Guess what the news is that night? 3 people are shooting their guns at the parade.
Reverend, bad news always gets more attention than good news. That's always the case.
That's what people say.
White,
that's what people say. Have you watched the news? And after they get through showing the bleeding leading, or the leading bleeding, they'll show the story of some family who've overcome tragedy, of some young lady who's done some great triumph. I like that news too.
And those aren't black families. A lot of those are black families.
They're all kinds of people. That's what I'm saying.
But
at TSU,
but of the tragedy that happens to the black community, so much more of it compared to the tragedy that happens at the hands of the police. So much happens at the hands of the other people in the black community, the black gang violence.
Count the numbers again.
Why does one get so much? Why does one fill the streets with protest and the other just doesn't get a public outcry from the black community?
No, proportionately, there are more blacks who are victims of crime. Number-wise, there are more whites. Police actually shoot more whites than they do blacks. But, percentage-wise, that's not done that out. Now, again, if you keep looking at the negative, that's what you're going to find.
Pastor Fuzz never did offer an explanation for the fact that blue on black crime draws much more public outrage from the black community than the much more prominent black on black crime, but I thought it fruitless to continue to press for that answer. He didn't have an answer. I'll give him time to think about it, and we'll come back to it another time. We will be continuing this conversation. Pastor Fuzz thinks he does have the answer, or an answer, to crime in the projects.
Let's say that we have a public housing, what you call, and every month you got a shooting in that public housing. That's easy to fix.
Really?
Yes.
How?
One way you would fix that is that, and it doesn't matter what race the police are, people talk about that, but diversity is always better, I think. Let's take a public housing unit here in Nashville. Let's assign just 3 officers per shift who are there for 2 years at least. And one of the most important mandates they have is to get to know every person who lives there interpersonally. You build a relationship with them. They know what's going on in the community. In my community, where I live, used to be high crime. It's not anymore. We got involved. We know the people there. If police, right now...
Is there public housing in your community?
Used to be. Now let me tell you, that happened too. That's a good solution. Under Bill Clinton, this Hope 6 thing was brought about, where they tore down the so-called projects and built this new housing. When they tore down Preston Taylor projects in West Nashville, the crime rate went down 30%. Now, it went so low that my community was no longer eligible for a crime reduction grant from the U.S. Justice Department. Everywhere that they've torn down these public housing units, the crime went down.
Okay.
You're not evicting people. If you drive by all of them today, you will not find a piece of paper in anybody's yard. You will not have grass that's dead and walked on.
What replaced the housing for the people that were in the public housing units? If
They
tore down the public housing
They
units,
rebuilt
what did they do
them.
with the
They built them with new kind of housing. And it was mixed-use housing. Not all of it was rental. Some of it was affordable housing that people could buy, whatever they mean by affordable housing.
Right.
And what I'm saying is they tore down the brown brick so-called projects. and they rebuilt these very nice kind of aluminum siding homes, neighborhoods,
Right.
with community centers. The crime went away.
After solving crime in public housing, Pastor Fuzz pivoted back to the transit problem, which he thinks is getting way too much attention and funding compared to other significant problems.
Right now, if you want to go somewhere, this time of day, you can drive, you can speed if you want to. There's no traffic jam. There's no traffic gridlock. 30 years from now, you're saying you're going to have an extra million people here? Mm-hmm. Extra million people, let's estimate that would take you 300,000 new residences, new housing, and then you got the businesses.
That's in the whole big metropolitan area, not in Nashville.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But let's say that's going to happen. 300,000 houses. I have a lady who sold her house in California for $2 million. She moved here, bought a house twice that size for $400,000. What would have been the difference of her paying $500,000 for that house so that she could have safety, nice streets, good schools, a good community? Why can't the people who are moving here pay for that? Because that's who you're going to need it for. Don't put the poor in that discussion. See, that's disingenuous. The poor, for the most part, already use public transportation. Here's something nobody will have the guts to say. More than 1 in 4 of them do not have legal driving license.
Right.
They're not driving. They're not supposed to be driving. How does the poor get figured into this context for mass transit? We don't know that mass transit will work.
Well, few of them are probably going to be able to ride on the rail from point A to point B where they need to go. Bus service is going to have to be a significant part of that.
But they already ride buses.
Which is why the no tax for tracks people are promoting a major improvement to the bus service as one of the major alternatives to the rail service.
So when I ask the question, why can't we add 100 buses? With $15 billion, we can build communities where people don't have to get in their cars and go anywhere.
And you know what else? There are 259 miles of interstate highway servicing the Metro Nashville area. You could add 2 lanes to every single one of those miles of highway, designate those lanes as mass transit lanes of some sort for high-capacity buses, smart vehicles, whatever, at less than the cost of just the rail portion of what she wants to do.
And when I ask that kind of question, give me an answer. Don't shut me down. When I say, what would happen if we bought 200 more buses? Don't worry about that. It's just an idea they had. They got stuck on it, and you're not willing to look at anything.
And they haven't even been honest about the cost of the idea.
Right, outside the box.
Even the $9.5 billion is not really the total cost
and
of it. That is only the cost.
And that's why I have to speak loud, because the general public won't get that information. You'll hear $5 billion. Then I heard $6 billion. Then I hear $9 billion. Now I'm hearing $15 billion. Then I'm hearing no matter what you do, it's not going to work. All I want to do is answer those questions.
Have a new administration, put together a different transit plan, start from the beginning, have a conversation with everybody, put together a different plan and present it to everybody, or what would you like to see
It wouldn't even have to be a different plan. It needs to be a plan that's transparent, that I can ask questions about, that I can get an understanding of. My therapist that I use, and I recommend that to all pastors, get your therapist, psychologist. She says, Reverend, those people in your church who are the most difficult to buy into your vision, if you answer their questions and you win them, they're going to be your most adamant supporters.
That's why for about 20 years, Mariana, rather than just listening to what I say on the radio, every time I come home, she grills me for about an hour to what I said to make sure I believe what I said and that I can back it up. And that's what the mayor needs, and that's all you're asking.
Let me ask you a question and just tell me an answer. Don't shut me down and say, you wave people off, you label them, you demean them because they want to ask questions.
Do you think she should resign?
The city needs a leadership that's trustworthy. Right now,
Can she earn it back?
yeah, we can, but this could be the best thing that happened to her. You know, we're all on a life path. There's some great needs in this world, and I let her know the other night. Your experiences right now could really help some people in this nation who are struggling with tragedies. The opioid tragedy. You could help so many people. Your education could help so many people.
If they could trust you.
Well, you got to be trustworthy. And right now I'm going to tell you, according to my experiences with the current mayor, you cannot trust anything that comes out of her mouth. She's caught up in this kind of political strategy that you tell people what they want to hear, you make them smile, you giggle, you laugh, you suck them in. And there's so many people out there who need someone who's important to acknowledge them. And they will die for that person until they find out. A lot of the women who took her to our churches, they want prestige. They love prestige. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, when you pray, you enter into your own secret closet and you pray in secret, not with TV cameras and news media following you around, and it ain't even at your own church. You pray in secret. You don't want prayer. You want publicity. You don't want to help people. You want popularity. You want to be a rock star. You haven't done anything for affordable housing that y'all call it. I don't know what is affordable housing, but I do know in her first state of Metro address, the first promise you broke, your state of Metro address, your first one, you allocated $10 million for affordable housing and $60 million for sidewalks. What the hell? Sidewalks can't pay you a mortgage. Sidewalks can't give you rent. And affordable housing is a problem that's estimated to cost $3 billion. What will $10 million do towards a $3 billion problem? But the average folk out here,
has anybody proposed to you, anybody, the city, developers, anybody in your community proposed to you a solution for affordable housing without just most of it just being bought and paid for by taxpayers? Is there any other way?
See, that's what I'm saying. Taxpayers don't have to pay for affordable housing. I do this every night. Let's say you build a 1,000 square foot house, my own regular house, right. Okay? And let's say the average pricing is $100 square foot, $100,000 for a 1,000 square foot house.
Right. Yeah, it used to be. It's higher than that now.
It's a lot higher than that, but you can get it's affordable if you'll get a 50% profit margin back. So you build that $100,000 house and you sell it for $150,000.
No, you do. There's not that profit margin. There really is not.
I'm going to show you where it is.
Okay.
Instantly, I can call right now and get you 10 black churches who have land. They want to build. They call affordable housing on their land. I got enough land to build 4 units. We got some land. Build 4 units.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's figure out a way to put community labor. They need jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Together with philanthropy, which is available, together with city, incentives,
Public-private
et cetera,
partnership, they big word, yeah.
together with some other people, and you guys build your own affordable housing
Right,
and control it,
right. And
don't be dependent on anybody else for it. I'll bet we can figure out a way to do that.
you can do that, but let me tell you one of the biggest problems. One of the former mayors told me this. He says, Enoch, your community can never achieve sustainable economic capacity unless you get a booster shot from the public treasury. Tennessee State University is an example.
Now, that's an insult. Damn it, I'm sorry, but that's an insult.
No, listen at me again. I'm going to give you the examples of this. Tennessee State, no, let me give you this one. Simple, more simple. They wanted to build an African American Museum of Music on 8th and Jefferson. The African American Community Committee was to raise $5 million, and then the city would put in the rest. 8 years, they couldn't raise $5 million. The money ain't there.
Well, not in the African American community,
Right.
but there are other people who want to help the African
They
American
do,
community.
but you got to have the contacts
But-
with them. Most whites don't have money. It's only like 10%. But those whites who do have it, they don't know anybody black.
Okay. All right.
They don't know black community. And
I'll bet you we can put together a coalition of different things that can solve this affordable housing problem.
We could
But
solve
only
affordable
if
housing.
Only if people
because
are
housing,
honest, deal with you honestly and
you
tell you
don't-
what they can do and what they can't do, and not blow a bunch of smoke up your
Right,
skirt
and
just
the
because
other-
that's what they want
but
to
the
do.
other part, you got to realize, housing, you don't give it away. You build it, and the people who move into it pay for it. So you get your money back. Churches who want to build just one $200,000, and they could build maybe 3 little units, small units. They don't have the access to the $200,000.
Well, I bet one of the main things we're going to be able to do with this plan, when it worked the way I think it can, is divert a lot of this gang community into labor for affordable housing and all of the things that go with it to keep it up, maintain it, make it look good.
But
and
but
all
I
that.
don't focus on the gangs.
I know.
Let me tell you,
but the reason
I would be preferable to, and I tell them that. I tell our churches, let's build some jails. Some folk, they're not going to do the right thing, and we're looking at a 1%, and they're the ones.
And you
who,
got to be willing to jail them when they won't. You
Yes,
be willing
sir.
To get along with the police to put them in the jail. when
And
they
I'm not
won't.
going to tell the society we're going to rehabilitate these people. We're going to make them right. We're going to beat their butts. That's how you make them right. You got to put fear in them. I want to focus on the good kids who are struggling with single moms, the kids who are going to school every day. The little boy who's 9 years old, he said, Reverend, I don't go to school to play. I go to school to learn. I want to help that parent who comes to me and says, my kid is having trouble in school. Reverend, help me beat the hell out of him. Not that parent who's come to tell me the teacher don't like my child. They're mistreating my child. My child is not in a game. Let's stop putting the crooks and the boys with their pants hanging down on TV, giving them all the attention. Let's give this little kid who says, I'm trying to get in college, but I don't have enough money. I said, well, go to this program and improve your ACT. He goes to the program and he makes a 26. Now he's getting money back for college. Let's focus, the TSU homecoming parade. You focus on 3 thugs who were shooting, but the 40,000 wonderful people who came with their kids in tow, who got college education, who teach in our public schools, the man who retired after 53 years of teaching at TSU, that should have been your lead story. Who led the struggles, who helped thousands of folks, who paid for kids who don't have money to finish. Those are the stories that don't get told. We're always telling about the shootings and the robberies. Lock them up. 4 people in the Buchanan area. I had 3 people come to tell me all 4 of their names. They're the ones who are terrorizing the whole neighborhood. And it's making it look like the neighborhood is a terrible place. Now, if these 3 people can come and tell me the names of these 4 boys, then the North Precinct Police Department know who they are. Now, this is what the little thugs tell me. And they come to church. The drug dealers, the pimps, all of those people come to church. And they come and they want prayer. But this is what they say. Reverend, we ain't going over there. It's hot over there. They got too many police over there. We need more police. Who's talking about public safety? You're not gonna have anybody riding a train and it's not safe. Do you know how much it would cost to get another 1,000 policemen? If you get another 1,000,000 people, that's what you're gonna need. Who's gonna pay for that? I'm saying people are griping about sitting in rush hours, sitting in gridlock. Hell, you're in an air-conditioned car with everything that you need. You can get so much done while you're sitting there. Y'all spoiled and used to nothing.
Especially if you don't have to drive it. When these self-driving vehicles come along, they'll be able to do that.
Stay at work another hour until rush hour is over. Yeah. And do some of the stuff that you need to do, like write your letter, fill out some, talk to some. How much time you wasting at home sitting in rush hour?
Much bigger problems, much bigger fish to fry than transit right now.
Yes. Sitting on the couch at home.
Especially for $9 billion or whatever the price tag may be.
Yes. Watching The Price is Right. That's traffic gridlock.
Thanks for listening to this conversation with Pastor Enoch Fuzz, the first half-hour uninterrupted conversation I've ever been able to broadcast. I realize an uninterrupted half-hour is challenging the attention span of anybody who's not actually in on the conversation. But if you want to hear more like this, let me know. And also, hit that subscribe button so I can keep reporting slightly larger numbers every day. Or follow me on Facebook, or both. Right now, 181 YouTube subscribers after week 1, maximum 5,000 Facebook friends, but somebody drops off every once in a while, so keep trying. 3,472 Facebook followers so far. And don't forget, when in Nashville, tip the band. I'm Ralph Bristol, at your service.